Hey folks, for golfers, this is one of the scariest places. We're close to the green, we've hit 2 good shots, we've missed the green, we're gonna try to get up and down. And there's 2 common mistakes I see average golfers make that completely destroy their chances of getting up and down or hitting a quality pitch shot. And we're gonna talk about them today. 2 mistakes you make, how to fix them, and how to start hitting better pitch shots and chip shots around the greens. Let's get into it right now. So the thing most golfers are afraid of is they're afraid of sculling it and they're afraid of chunking it. So what I see happen so often, the 2 mistakes that they make is players set the hands really far forward and they put the ball really far back in their stance, and then they put a bunch of weight forward, and they're hoping that because of that they'll get ball first contact. Let's break down why both of those issues are problems. The thing I don't like about ball back in our stance, or at a minimum, even if it's forward, sometimes we set the hands so far forward, is that that leading edge, we really start to point it down towards the ground, and it's so easy for us to dig. And when I see players chunk shots, what happens is because it's that leading edge is starting to dig down towards the ground. Oftentimes they do that because they want to make ball first contact. But the thing to keep in mind is this is not the impact position we want when we hit chip shots. When we watch the best players in the world, usually when they hit these little pitch shots where they're maybe just bouncing, they're feeling the club really bounce off the ground, bruising the turf, as some of them say, we don't see them dig very often, because when they hit this golf ball, there's very limited forward shaft lean. Sometimes there's none, sometimes there's a little bit, but it's not this extreme amount. So we're gonna stop doing that, and the reason how or why we're going to stop doing that is because we're going to get our body to move a little bit differently. When you put all this weight forward and this ball back, you're trying to do away with all those faults. But what am I going to do from this position? As I start to move my arms, if I've put all this weight forward, as I start to move my arms, I'm going to start to move that way. And what happens for a lot of players, honestly, this is the biggest misconception. The number one thing I need you to take away is this. When you set up with the ball back and your weight forward, as soon as you start to move the club, you're actually sending energy in that direction. So what happens, players say, okay, I'm just going to stay here and I don't have to move. But then as they start to swing the club back, they start to sway a little bit off the golf ball, and then that's what causes them to want to hit behind the golf ball because they've moved back, or they start to flip it.
Hey, here's a little secret. On every Thursday, I send an email with 2 things. My favorite golf tip of that week, and either a quote or stat, or sometimes even a game that you can use when you practice. I don't want you to miss it. The next one's coming on Thursday morning. Make sure you check the link in the description. Sign up for my newsletter, because on Thursday, the next one's coming. Now let's get you back to your video.
So enough of the negatives. Let's start talking about the positives. When we look at the best pitchers and chippers in the world, they actually move during their golf swing. They don't just stay frozen and try to stay there. What happens with a lot of them when we look at their feet on force plates, or just when we look at it with the naked eye, is they will set up very neutral. And what happens is as they make a backstroke, they actually start to shift into their lead side. Because remember what I said before, right? When the club starts to go back, that's going to want to pull us away from the golf ball, and we don't want that to happen. So we are going to, as we make that backstroke, actually move into our lead side. So instead of starting here thinking that we're going to stay here, we're going to start neutral. As we make a backstroke, we're actually going to shift into our lead side, and then from there, we're going to come through and we're going to release this golf shot. So the first change is how the body moves. We set up neutral, and then in the backstroke, we're going to move into our lead side, and then we're going to come through and hit that pitch shot. Now that we've got our body moving differently, the thing we're going to do away with is this excessive forward shaft lean, right? Because I see players that what happens, they set up with this excessive forward shaft lean, and now they know from this position subconsciously if they maintain that, they're going to hit behind it. So then that's when they start to go like this, and they try to move their body to accommodate the setup with the extreme forward shaft lean. So the second thing we have to take away is we do not want to set up with these hands way forward. If we try to maintain that angle, what you're going to do is your upper body is actually going to start to tilt back to maintain that angle. It's extremely rare that we see a player, a good player around the greens hit a short game shot and maintain this angle. We oftentimes see them finish actually where the club head has passed the hands, where they've actually let that club head release. And if we move our body properly, that release will be in the right position. If we're the player that puts all the weight on our front leg, but then when the club starts to go back, we move back and then we try to release, that's how we hit behind. So I'm just gonna clean off my club here because I've collected a little bit of grass on it. And as I go ahead and hit a few shots for you, two things we're gonna do away with. We're gonna do away with setting all that weight forward at the start, and then we're gonna do away with setting our hands forward that much. We're gonna set up a lot more neutral. As we make our backswing, we're gonna move into our lead side, and then as we turn our body on the way through, we're actually gonna allow the club to release.
Hey there, Coach Ryan just hopping in here for a second. I just want to say thanks for watching this video, and I have a few favors to ask. If you don't already, please make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. The more support, the more content I create. If you like this video, make sure you give me a little thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. I do my best to respond to every single comment. Now, last thing is make sure you hit that little bell so when I drop more videos just like this one, you're the first one to get notified. You don't miss out on any of my content. Thanks again for watching. Let's get you back to your video.
That's going to utilize the bounce to make sure that we don't dig. And the way that our body moves is going to make sure that we're in front of the golf ball so that as we're releasing, we can still make ball first contact. So I got a pin set up out there. I'm going to hit a few for us. So for me, my stance is always very narrow. My weight is neutral. Now I'm going to move left in the backswing and release. And see, I can make interaction with the turf, but I didn't dig. That was ball first contact. As I was coming through, my body was ahead because I moved it in the backswing. And then from there, I just let the club do the work and was able to release. Just gonna clean my club off here, because especially when we're practicing, I do not like those grooves full of grass. That's another little tip. When you're practicing, hit a bunch of shots, make sure that your grooves are clean, because if they're dirty, that can affect launch, that can affect spin. So we're gonna go ahead and hit another one here, narrow stance. I'm gonna move, for me, my vantage point, I'm moving left in the backswing and allowing the club to release. Okay, another one there. And now the checkpoints that we can go through. So if I was to summarize this video, here's the 3 checkpoints. When we set up, we feel neutral. And then now I know it's hard to feel it as we're actually hitting our golf shot, but I set up neutral, I move left, and then as I finish, I'm asking myself, do I have weight forward? Am I tall on my left side or my lead side, yes or no? And did the club head pass my hands, right? Right now it did not, but as I start to get a release, that club head passes the hands, and those are the characteristics we're looking for in really good short game shots. A more neutral setup, pressure is moving into our lead side in the backswing, and we're allowing that club to release. All right, I'm gonna hit a few more here for you. And can we move the ball? Can we have the ball back in our stance? Yes. Can we have the ball forward in our stance? Yes. But right now I'm in short grass, and I want to standardize the way that we move, in these short game shots. And let's call this a basic shot scenario. Yes, thick, rough, got to hit a high, different things like that. But when I'm looking at basic, I want to make really good contact on a short game shot around the green. I know that my body has to move forward. I'm going to take care of that in the backswing, and I know that the club has to release, so I can actually utilize the back of the wedge or the bounce as opposed to that leading edge. So I'm going to set up here, hit a few more for you. So neutral stance, move left, release. Another really good strike there. I'm feeling like a short game expert today. So the 2 common mistakes that golfers make is they preset a bunch of weight forward and they really jam the hands forward. When they preset the weight forward, what happens is as the club starts to move back, they move back and they don't compensate, and we hit behind. When you're the player that tries to set the hands crazy forward, as you try to maintain that angle, you have to try to back out of it, and that causes a whole ton of problems. The 3 steps to go through if you want to neutralize or at least standardize basic short game shots. Let's set up with our weight neutral. We're actually going to move into our lead side in the backswing, and then as we come through, we're going to allow that club to release. And I'm not going to hit in the divot that I hit earlier when I was given that example. So neutral stance, move forward, and let that club release, okay? Last one here, we're going to see if I can make it. I know that you guys can't see the target, but that's okay. My pro tip of the day is that we're going to use the towel to clean off our grooves every time. And let's see if we can one here. Pretty good effort there. Didn't go in, but it was pretty good. Those are my ideas around short game. Let's get rid of those 2 mistakes, and there's a 3-step process to start hitting better short game shots. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. Let's start hitting better short game shots. Let's stop being afraid of chipping out of the short grass. We should be taking advantage of being in the short grass instead of being afraid of it. Thanks for watching, folks, and have a great day.